Hello everyone. I am Ashwini Kumar Sinha. Today we are going to make a face recognition robot and how we can use the OpenCV and how we can use TensorFlow and other Python libraries to recognize the face and also the age of the person. So we will talk about how we can make a age and gender detection system so that it can process any person's face and image and try to estimate the age and gender of a person. So suppose that you have a robot, a humanoid robot who can detect your face, who can tell you about your age, and you can also know your gender just by looking at you. So it's quite interesting. It have some human-like capability, like a human can see any person and estimate its age and gender just by looking at him, and can recognize the person. The same capability can be also gained by the robot. So it's quite interesting now. So in this session we will talk the same. So first of all, to make this robot, we need any face. So you can design your own custom face, or you can use any another face robot face that is available in market. Like I have used the open source. I have used the open source face of a robot that is made by the InMove Robotics. So I have used the 3D printed the InMove robot head and then add a OLED eye here. So the what the OLED eye do is that it have a eye that move around and see you. So it act like a human that it is watching you and it move its eyeball according to you, according to your movement of face or something like that. So this is the extra part of the project. But here we are just creating a smart face recognizing robot that can recognize the face as you can see here in the image, and it can also estimate your age and gender as well. So to make this robot, let's start with our basic setup on the Raspberry Pi. Here I'm using the Raspberry Pi with the camera module to do all the processing of the face recognition and the age detection and all other things. So you can even ask me the question in chat in between. So I'm using here the VNC to connect my laptop with the Raspberry Pi, who is on the same network to my Wi-Fi, so that I can access the desktop screen of Raspberry Pi. So to connect, you have to first enter the IP address of the Raspberry Pi and with the Pi name. So all of you are now seeing my screen of the Raspberry Pi. So here we need to install certain libraries that we require in the project. So for that we need a basic one of the basic library that is the open source that have to be installed and it is needed. So to do so you have to type this command in your terminal and then hit enter. It will install the OpenCV. I'm not installing it because I have already done it. Then you can install the TensorFlow. And then you have to install the TensorFlow. I am not installing it because I have already installed it. Then you have to install the another library NumPy. So you can install all the another depending library that you need in our project by just simply typing the sudo pip3 install and followed by the library name. Like if you want to install the OpenCV, you type OpenCV sudo pip3 install OpenCV, or if you want to install the TensorFlow, then you use the sudo pip3 install TensorFlow. Then you have to install the NumPy. Then you have to install the SciPy, and then you have to install the ESP. I'm going to use the ESP because here ESP what does it that it converts the text into the speech. Actually, it synthesizes the text into the speech and give you the audio output of either over the audio jack connected to the audio speaker connected to Raspberry Pi or any Bluetooth speaker connected to the Raspberry Pi. So we will use the ESP here in the code to let me show you the code as well. So some window had come here. Actually, I have. Facing some problem. Okay, okay. Let me switch to my slide here. So you can see the slide here, but it is not clear. Let me go to the back to the. So after installing the library, here you also need a face recognition library. So I'm what I'm talking about is the ESP. So ESP actually do the text to speech conversion. So here I am needed the ESP so that whenever it gets the gender and age of a person by processing the face of that person, it will actually speak it out. And you can also change the language here. You can there are a lots of languages supported in the ESP, so you can change it, the language here. So you can either change the language to the Hindi, to the English, to Spanish, or any supported language, and then you can also change the voice mode like whisper. It will slowly say you hello, hello, something like that. So if you want to take it loud, so you have to set the voice type as loud, so it can show you loud, and you can also set the voice mode into angry mode. So then it will synthesize that speech to text into a angry mode. If we say something like in anger mode, so you can set different modes here, but I'm not setting. I'm just using the simple mode. So I am here in the English as the voice language, and it will synthesize hello and then the name, and uh, instead of happy new year, I am going to change gender. So what it will do is whenever it recognizes any person face and then the age and gender of the person, so it will call the ESpeak thing, and it will say hey hello and then the name of the person, whatever it is recognized supported, it recognize my face, so it will say hey hello Ashwini, and then the gender and the age of the person, so it will say hey hello Ashwini, your gender is male and your age is something something, whatever it will detect and say have a nice day. So it will actually surprise the person. How do you know, estimate my gender and how do you estimate my age? So this is the so our robot have this capability that can estimate the age and gender of a person just by seeing him, and also can recognize the person's face as well. And I have here used if condition. So if a person is standing in front of the robot camera, robot camera, so it will not just repeating his name and his gender again and again, but it will take it as oh it was the same previous person, so keep it silent, so don't send anything. And if it is not the previous person, then it will say oh hello, the name and the name of the person, the gender and the age of the person. So you can change it according to whatever you want to make it to make your robot to say after the detection thing. And so the first we need to import all the code in the mm, all the library in our code that is needed. Here we need the face recognition library for the recognition of face, and OpenCV just to capture the video and cut it in the frame by frame, save it in the image of the person, and then pass it to the age gender modules to determine the age. And here I have the list of age that it can our robot can recognize. Let me uh, maximize it. So here I have the list of the age that our robot can determine, classify the person's age, like 0 to 1 and 4 to 6 years, or 8 to 12 year, or 15 to 12, 20 years old, or 25 to 30 years old, to 38 to 43, and and the other list. And here we have the list of the gender. Here I have also created array for the gender, male and female. So from this list, it will try to map with the processed image whether which category the particular face or particular person fall in. Like it will detect you here, and you fall in the category of 8 to 12 years old with the male, with the gender category of male. So it will print on that. It will give you a lot to that category. So here is the list of that our robot actually categorize you, and here are the model names that our code used to determine in the gender and the age. So these are the model names that you have to download from the internet. and embed it into the code. So next, what we have a file name that actually captures your pick and then cut it in the frame and then save the file, save your image in the certain file directory name as here. And here we have the list of the person that robot can recognize. Like you can set the image, capture the image of the person and keep it in your database and give person that person's image name here uh, and set the other things uh, so that robot can recognize those person's image like here. And then you have to set the mm, their face names and encodings and another things. Now here whatever in the true function, what our code do is it will cut the the video frame image into the small part and then pass it to the age gender module that will recognize the gender and age of the person. It will resize the image to the small because it will easy to process for the modules and it can easily recognize the age and gender of the person. So after that, we will pass the frame string to the file name so that it actually the model go to the file, search this file here, and the file path is set here in the previous one, so that the model will search at this path and then open this image and then process that image and then try to predict the gender and age of the person, and then it will print the gender and age of the person in the cell, in the python cell. And after printing the gender and then we have also print the age and and then we have used the if condition so that it will match the image recognized of the person, the face recognized of the person, whether it is the same person that I have recognized earlier or it is a new person. If it is a new person, then it will say the name and also print on the python cell, and then it will announce hello, the name of the person and the gender and whatever the message you want your robot to say. And after getting all everything this done, the code it everything the setup, what you have to do is to get any robot face, open source robot face, like I've used the move robot face, and then put the Raspberry Pi camera back inside behind the OLED display like this. I have set the Raspberry Pi camera here and then run the code, and whenever anyone passes by the in front of the robot captures their face and recognize it and label the person name and then tell their age and the gender as you can see here. I will also want to show you the live demo of the thing. Uh, Here you can attach the camera. You can see the my video here on the screen. You can attach the Raspberry Pi camera module here in the port, and then you have to put the camera here. But I want to show you the live demo. But unfortunately, I have broken my camera. The soldering of the camera get out from the pin, and so I can't show you the live demo right now. Actually, I have broken the camera just now, unfortunately. Okay, later I will fix it out. So leave it. And so I will show you how it will show what is the screen after what is the screen you got after the when you run the code. So it will show you the image something like that, showing your camera, showing the video and with the name and the gender of the person and the age category where the person what the robot have estimated like this, and it will also print the same in the cell like this. So when you run the code, you have to wait for the 1 to 2 minutes depending on the processing power of your development board. I am using the Raspberry Pi 4, Raspberry Pi 4 with the 2 GB of RAM. So it will take about 30 to 45 seconds to run the whole code. And after getting the code run, you have to wait to 45 seconds, and then it will start showing the live video with the level of your or level of the name of the person that robot have recognized and the age and gender, and it will also print here like this. So this is how the things work. So you can now ask the question answer as well. So any question?
What kind of face encoding technique is used here? Can you explain how the model is going to detect gender?
Actually, per model is used here for the. I have also used another part of in the code that I haven't tell you about this. Actually, I'm developing this robot more something related to the emotion and something related. So I have not captured that part. Actually, I'm in. It is in development phase. So it is not the part of this the age gender thing. So you can ignore this part of the per module. It is for the different function. For something like emotion and something like that, I'm developing those things. And what kind of encoding technique I've used the face recognition thing, and that we recognize the face and the libraries for the recognition of the age and estimation of the gender from the what to say uh, from the processed image of the person.
Okay, one more is there. How much data must be provided to get maximum efficiency from this model?
Actually, I've used the pre-trained modules. So you can do a custom training module and provide the data according to your by using the TensorFlow to for the detection of age and other things. I have used the pre-trained modules and the libraries that I have already said. These are the modules that you need to download. Here the age deployed at proto.txt and AgeNet and other. These modules are open are available on net and the open source, and you can download the libraries and other required modules and GitHub repository for your own custom code on the PyPy. When you search for the like age detection, you just simple search age detection. You get the list of library and just use those libraries. And you can also do the custom training module on the TensorFlow as well.
Okay, another one is which is superior, Raspberry or Jetson?
I'm using the Raspberry Pi, but if you use the just NVIDIA development board, then it is a good one for the image processing I think those boards also have the GPU for the processing, so that enhance the processing power. So you can use that board also, but I'm using the Raspberry Pi 4 with the 4 with 2 GB of RAM, but recommended is 4 GB of RAM. It costs you around 5,000 to 6,000 for the 4 GB of RAM on the Raspberry Pi.
Okay, another one is library is to extract the photo from the video.
Yeah, libraries are. I have actually combined the 3 to 4 different libraries here and mix up in the same code to work all the things all together. Like one library I have used a face recognition library, and that library actually recognizes the face of the person. And then I have also mixed up one more library for the emotion that is I am not taking this in this session to recognize something like that. And then I have another library to recognize the age and gender of the person, so it can tell you the age and gender of the person. And all this library work one by one and process the image and show that, and after processing those image display it on your screen with the level uh, of the recognized image with age and gender and the face recognized on the screen. And I have used the OpenCV to display all the things with the level on the screen. So here is actually the merging of the different libraries in the single code and using all those things, all those library at a single time, and let the Raspberry Pi to process all the same things in the real time and give all the data about the person like his face, his age, and his gender, another thing that I am developing. I will tell you about this in another session. So it is actually the merge of different libraries.
One more is there. Is this code open source or you have made it for the project?
Actually, these codes are actually I've used a different open source library and merged into single code of of a face recognition library. So you will get a basic code of face recognition code in the face recognition library, and I have merged all the other part in the same code and make it work to for the age detection and the gender detection and the face detection as well in the same place. So whole project is published on the EFY. I will You can search on the EFY. Actually, the project start with the face recognition thing, then it is extended to a age recognition thing, and I will also extend it to another next level. I will share you later. So if the whole the project is on the process, and I've used the open source uh, uh, robot head. Here you can see the robot head of the InMove robot head. You can custom design any robot head and 3D print that thing and make your own robot like that. So you can find the whole code and other thing and instruction on Electronics for You website. And for the basic examples and code, you can get it on face recognition library. You can get the GitHub link on the internet and the examples for that on the internet as well.
Sentiment analysis is in progress.
Yeah,
Pratik is
yeah,
guessing it.
you have guessed the right thing. Actually, I'm actually working on that thing, but it is in process, and I hope I will complete it soon and publish it to to the on the electronics for you, and also share a, a live session to you guys after the completion of that project, because it is one of the wonderful thing that robot can actually detect your sentiment. Like when you are sad, it can detect, oh, you are sad, and give you the companion like the human. So actually robot have the emotion like the human, so it is a completely different thing. And it totally opened the new area, wide area for the robotics, where robot can really act like the human like thing. Like robot can actually detect and recognize as a human emotion understanding capability. So this is different thing. I am trying to make it a total human like robot that can actually have the emotion, something like the chitty one. So I am trying to develop those things, and it is under process. But yes, you have get the right thing. It is the sentimental analysis, something like that, the extension of the project.